Dun, dun, dun. Jeremy Piven's, everybody.
Yeah.
That's just going to be on you.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Okay, yeah,
all right,
for sure.
Deal. So, everybody does, so you are comedian, actor, producer, all of it. But technically, you did start in comedy, right? Like Second City, I have to do this to you because I come from Radioland, from Comedyland. Second City, anyone that can say that they were good enough to get into Second City is amazing. So you really, did you say I wanted to be a comedian first and then the acting just kind of happened? What came first, the chicken or the egg?
My parents have a theater called the Piven Theater in Chicago, not too far from the Second City. And going really, really, really far back, my parents were at University of Chicago, and then that led to Second City. So I have roots with my family in that place. That's where John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd and all the members of Saturday Night Live come from. So by the time I started with a guy named Chris Farley a million years ago. And so I got up on stage at about 8 years old with my family doing sketch comedy and improv and story theater. And so we were just performing, and there was no difference between comedy and drama. So that's the way I was. And that's the way everything is. I mean, life is you and I are laughing, and then the next moment we could be sobbing like grandmothers because our life, nothing makes sense right now.
No, it doesn't.
I do feel like someone has slipped me mushrooms. I swear to God, and going like, wait, this is reality?
This is your reality, and we're going to make it through this interview together.
We are.
We are going to make it through this.
Just barely.
He's holding on. He is barely holding on for us here in Denver.
Cut.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay, so here's the thing. We're going to get into why you're sad, because we got to be honest about it. Or why
I'm not sad. It's just nothing makes sense, but that's life.
Right.
It's not what happens. It's how you react to what happens. This is the worst TED Talk ever.
No, you know what?
Stay tuned.
This is what I wanted to say to you. I've watched your interviews, and when you bring up Chris Farley, you just bring it up in passing, and we have to stop because Chris Farley is by far one of my favorite comedians ever. I think all of us know his quotes to this day. Yeah. Not right here, not right here, it's right here. So when you talk about the fact that you got to know Chris Farley and you know all of these comedians, you came up with Dave Chappelle, you came up with all of them. What does it mean to you now that you're in their world? Like that you're stepping into the stand-up of vulnerability and sharing your life?
Well, it's interesting because every lane is completely different, and the stand-up lane is so completely unique in the way that, you're creating everything yourself.
Yeah.
So, for instance, with Entourage, my goal was to take everything that's on the page, every single word, and make it look improvisational. Because people are like, "Oh, well, that you were just improvising all that." I'm like, no, every single word is written. There's someone there waiting, for me to, if there's not a line or a word that's there, I got to go again. So it's a really great challenge and a beautiful challenge, and that's what acting is, to own all the language and be totally present in that state of play, so it all looks improvisational. And then you do stand-up, and you want that freedom. Be careful what you wish for because it's total freedom, and then you live or die by your own comedy. You do. So listen, it's a great lesson in life because when I first started, people are like, why is this guy taking my spots? I've been grinding so hard just because people know him as an actor. And the reality is you just don't let any of that get to you.
No.
You just do the work and you work really hard. And, this weekend I'm at the Improv and I get to, perform next to a cheesecake factory for 11 people. And, how the mighty have fallen. And it's, by the way, it's my honor. There's no place I'd rather be.
Well, we appreciate that. Denver, please come out and see Jeremy Piven. He is here at the Denver Improv. No.
Or not.
Stop it. I want you to come and see him.
Go to Red Rocks and see Tyler.
Look, here's the thing.
Bro, I'm a huge fan. Can I get a picture? Let's do it. Hey, do you want to come to my show? I'm not that big of a fan. Okay, sir. Thank you.
This is what's happening right now. Let's get into it. So, Jeremy Pivens, we need to sell more tickets to the Denver Improv. We need you guys to come.
We're all good. I've got flyers.
I know
I'm going to the mall. I'm going to the Cherry Hill Mall.
We've got some kids on skateboards. Kids,
if you want to meet me at the Foot Locker on the 12th of Never, come on down.
This is the thing. Do you think it's because, a lot of people, it is very interesting to say Jeremy Piven is doing stand-up.
Yes.
You're going viral right now for two parts of your stand-up that you talking smack about The Rock. No. Well, you're not. You're just saying.
Actually, not talking smack at all.
You're saying the truth reality.
Everything I'm saying is the truth. He's the highest paid actor. He's never taken an acting class. My mic at that moment breaks. I swear to God. And I put the mic down and I go, I don't need a mic. Can you guys hear me in the back? Yes. You want to know why? Because I took an acting class. And that literally happened. So he loved it. He saw it.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, I'm the highest paid dude. They need to study his DNA. He's like Schwarzenegger. He figured out how to conquer every lane, possible, and he's crushing the game. I'm just a stage actor from Chicago. I'm a journeyman actor. That's all I am, and I'm grinding, and this is life. I'm not going, woe's me. I'm just going, here we are. Let's have fun.
Yes, and you know what though? Here's the thing. I feel, because I've got to meet The Rock. He's really cool, and I feel that I wonder sometimes if he doesn't even know what reality is. Because I've seen how Hollywood treats the actors. I've seen he lives in a world where he can roll his window down and people just start screaming at him. Do you think he even understands what you might be feeling ever right now? I mean, everything he's done has been successful. And
Well, I think there's something about a guy like that that's fascinating because we can all really learn from that like, he manifested this life,
he sure did.
and it's amazing. and he, when one lane kind of goes south, he'll go to another lane and then keep it going.
Right.
And so I think it's, instead of going, because I don't compare and contrast myself and say like, oh, I'm angry at this guy because another person's success will never take away from your own.
And that's the biggest, oh my God, that is the biggest lesson out there. Don't focus on what everyone else is doing. Focus on your own lane. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and also, when I was growing up at the turn of the century, 200 years ago, the variable was like, you just work your butt off, and if you're good, you'll break through. That's all you need. And now the game has changed. It's really about how you make people feel. You know what I mean? How did he was good, but the Rock is everyone's best friend. Yeah. So like all these guys,
he's making everybody feel good.
Oh man, he's just like my big teddy bear.
Oh no, he totally is. The fact that he says every movie I make, it's got to have a happy ending. Who gets to say that in Hollywood? The Rock does. But
yeah. He may be our president. We don't know. It'll just keep going. It'll just keep going.
It could keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of junkets and things.
Yeah.
I actually got to come to your junket.
Really?
The Entourage junket out there in L.A.
Stop it.
No, but here's the greatest thing. You know how you say life is all weird?
Yeah.
I wasn't cool enough to get in your room.
What? How the tables have turned. Now I'm begging to get in your room.
To me.
I'm like, please interview me. Oh my God. No, that's amazing. And it's so funny. That picture just says everything to me. You're having a great time.
Yes.
You're in front of a car that was a prototype Cadillac that people really, they wanted to see that car.
Yeah.
And that never necessarily came to fruition. I know that the Montauk, that hotel.
Yes.
And yeah,
nice
that's
hotel.
Cool. A beautiful hotel.
No, LA definitely treats you guys and puts you in a whole different world when you are in the Hollywood bubble. It is amazing to see how these junkets happen and how all that goes down. And again, I wasn't cool enough to get into your room to talk to you guys, but I got to talk to the other guys. And the one question I would have asked you.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you have preferred to go through your career with an entourage with you? Because they do allow you to have balls. They do allow you to say, you don't need to worry about what that guy just told you. There's a lot of pros that come with rolling with an entourage. Do you think it could have helped you, or do you think it would have turned into a bunch of yes men?
Well, I've never had an entourage, so I can only theorize. I know that there are guys like Mark Wahlberg that, who is very much like The Rock.
Yeah.
They have the same DNA. They cannot be stopped.
They don't sleep.
They sleep for about 8 minutes. They do a power chant. They pray,
then they hit their chest, drink protein powder, and then they're out.
A couple of Hail Marys, and then they go straight to the bank.
It's amazing.
You know what I mean? And they just start cashing checks.
They do.
It's adorable. Now, I never had an entourage. Again, stage actor from Chicago, doing my thing. There's no right or wrong. I mean, these guys are just crushing the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I was lucky enough when I read the Entourage script, and I'm not just saying I'm not being Monday morning quarterback. I knew that people would be fascinated by it because people, as you know more than anyone, they love the backstage life of Hollywood.
It's crazy, beautiful.
They're very curious about it. And this was an authentic take on it because it was about Mark's world. His agent is Ari. There is a drama turtle in E. Those guys all exist.
He got to roll with his boys that kept him sane.
And he's loyal to all his guys, and they're loyal to him.
Yeah.
And they're doing their thing.
But then you get, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Then you get like Michael Jackson's entourage who turns into yes people. And yes, you should take your propofol. You know, I mean, like there's a gift and a curse with rolling with people. Plus, you got to pay for them.
Yeah. And then, Michael Jackson's father, everyone goes, oh, he was so oppressive. And it's like, well, he created a lot of like hardworking. I don't know. At that moment, I just started defending Joe Jackson.
You did.
That's
so
when the mushrooms have kicked in for real.
Welcome to Colorado.
Yeah. You need to abuse your children. Let's produce some winners.
Produce winners.
By the way, that's the only clip that's going to make it out there. Coming up next, actor Jeremy Piven condones abusing children. He was spotted at the mall handing out flyers.
Okay, back to really fast. Okay, also, you're talking about tons of things you did. We are a radio station, so we had to look at your Common video. You in the Common video. We were really thinking you had a bigger part. You kind of just stood next to him, did a couple finger hits. So how did that come about?
Well, Common, I was shooting with the brilliant Joe Carnahan. There are guys in Hollywood who you just go, God, that guy's a genius, and I want to work with him. And he directed Smokin' Aces and one
of your best characters.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
God.
I had a brilliant time, and we were looking for someone to play my bodyguard, and I love going to concerts, and I was at Common's concert at the House of Blues, and I was looking at him going, this guy is so charismatic, and I wonder if he could act because it looks like he can. He was owning the stage. I approached him backstage, got his info, said to Joe, you should audition this dude. Common got the role. I took him under my wing. The rest is history. He's a superstar and a legend.
Are you saying, Jeremy Piven, we owe you for Common becoming an actor?
You don't owe me. No one owes me anything. But yes.
We owe you.
You owe me.
We owe you to go get Denver Improv tickets to go see you this weekend. That's right. What we owe you.
That's right. No, listen, I come from a theater family where they would always... Everyone at my parents' theater, if you couldn't afford to pay for classes, you were on scholarship. So I learned organically that you help each other and you come from a community. I remember like my first job in Hollywood, I wrote everyone cards as we were doing our first show, and they were like,
cards that said what?
No, just like, hey man, have a great season.
That's so sweet, like a real card.
Yeah, a card.
Like
and they were like,
with a hand.
bro, what the fuck is this? Are you fucking mentally challenged? Don't give me a card.
Just give me a card.
I just come from a community where we're like, we're in this together.
Right.
Let's
Actors.
go. And so I learned very quickly that that's not necessarily the way.
Uh-huh.
And my kindness was mistaken for whatever, and it happened. And you learn the hard way, but I just want to. I think we're all truly better together.
Yeah.
So I love helping people.
All right. What? I love that. I do. Yeah. And I think that is a true actor at their heart. That's the difference between a true actor is if they're doing it for the love of it and they just love the emotion that they can bring to people when they create their person, their character.
Yeah. I mean, I was telling your guys before we came on that like. It's so interesting because I've got my flyers and I walk down the street and people are like, bro, what are you doing here? And I've touched so many people and it feels great. It's really, really great. And so that's just a gift.
So we need to translate into buy the ticket to come see your next adventure because this is your next thing. You have like a stand-up special you're working on, right?
I just filmed my stand-up special. I think that's the variables that no one really knows I do stand-up.
True.
So they see me like, at the, Denver Improv, the 29th and the 30th of October, and they're like, is this guy going to be there?
September.
Yeah. I don't know what year we're in.
2022, I'm kidding.
I'm getting all the wrong information. But I think until I put my special out, people don't have a reference for me as a stand-up. And so, that's coming, but at the same time, the thing that I've heard the most, and I'm not just saying this, is I've heard when they see my stand-up, people are like, I didn't know you were that funny. And I'm thinking, I've done 80 movies. You didn't know?
Right, where the character was funny, whether it was dry, best friend, or anything. Your character has always had a line of, God damn, that guy had made me want to remember him. And it's usually a humorous element you throw in that I don't know whether the director planned on it or not, but you always make your characters come to life. And I love it. Even Ari, I mean, we are laughing as you are totally destroying somebody because of how you just bring, I don't know, you bring every character to life. So
thank you.
I want everyone to come and see you while you're doing your new stand-up because this is you not hiding behind a character. Who's Jeremy Piven?
Yeah, you're about to see, tonight and tomorrow at the Denver Improv. Yeah, that's the great thing about stand-up is it's you and it's your truth and it's everything's coming from you. You're not playing a character. It's yourself and your take on the world. That's why they call it observational humor. But I also do, characters, impressions, and stories.
Oh, yeah, you do impressions. You do Stallone. I've heard. Yes, you do.
I'm all over the map. I do Mike Tyson. I'm adding an Owen Wilson, and I'm just like, I love doing it. It's just a blast. I'm having a great time.
Have you done the impressions in front of any of them? Like, have you done Mike Tyson's in front of him?
I tried to do an impression of Mike in front of him, and I kind of panicked. You know what I mean?
How far were you when you tried it?
I was like,
I'm going to stand way over here and mock your baby voice.
Yeah. I was a couple moments into it, and he kind of looked at me, and I just realize at any moment, Mike is a Buddha and he's on this journey at this part of his life where it's like fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
And I unpack that completely and utterly in my show. I have these these amazing Tyson stories where Tyson likes to take handfuls of mushrooms while he's doing his podcast and just gobble them down.
Yes.
And I was his co-host for a little bit, and the people being interviewed were they're like, bro, is this normal? Is what's going on? And they're terrified. And he goes, it's just a microdose. And just like feeding off of handfuls of mushrooms. I swear to God.
I believe you.
It's terrifying. Because he could have a flashback. Right?
You could be that person.
All of a sudden he's biting your ear and the joke's on you. You know
Literally.
What I mean?
Oh my God.
I'm a vegan. I lost 100 pounds. I'm a pacifist. Brother, that was my ear.
I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. Oh my God. So you just would make sure you would be gone within the 45 minutes before the mushrooms kicked in.
Well, I met him because he was supposed to interview me for this podcast. And then I was just so fascinated about him. I just kept asking him questions.
He is fascinating.
And then we're an hour and a half into it. And they were like this, and his producers were like, keep going. Because he had only done 30-minute podcast.
And they needed to rack up some.
And we did an hour and a half, and I was fascinated by it. They're like, keep coming back. So he was supposed to interview me, but I didn't get a question. He didn't ask me a question.
It was you the whole time interviewing him.
Yeah.
I believe that.
But I loved it. And
also, did that lead into your podcast? You were interviewing people, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
How You Live in J. Piven.
Yeah. Right. So was Tyson part of that, or that started shit? I can go interview people.
I was already doing it. I mean, as you know, if you're truly curious about someone and you do the research, then you can have a great interaction. I was like, wow, I'm just going to interview people I'm fascinated by. This is going to be really fun. And, it's been a blast.
It's that easy, right?
No, I wouldn't say it's that easy.
Well, I mean, when you're interested in the person, I would love you to be here all day. I'm so excited you're here.
I would love to be here all day.
I have so many questions. So, but because you're but I respect your craft. I respect how you've, since 8 years old, that's amazing. I do think that this stand-up is giving you a new opportunity to let everybody know you're not Ari Gold as much as you are because you brought him to life. You are so, they're like, hey, don't forget about me, Jeremy Piven. I've been acting since before, I had a girlfriend.
There are very organic ways of revealing what you just said that I found out through stand-up. If I tell the audience how I literally learned my lines, which was running lines with my mom, who was my acting teacher. So everything I said as Ari Gold, I said to my mom's face. which is insane because he's so abrasive and obnoxious and terrifying. And so my mom would just stay in the pocket and I would say the craziest things to her face and she wouldn't flinch. And so telling people this story, they're looking at me, and selfishly, I get to tell them about my life and they get to know who I am. And it's also really kind of funny and terrifying. And so I'm having a great time.
So the only part I heard was that you do lines with your mom.
Right. Exactly.
I had to like, okay, you meant like reading your actor lines, where my head went.
Don't do lines with your mom.
Don't do lines with your mom.
Kids, if you remember one thing from this, and then I get into that. And then I do a whole bit about doing lines with your mom. I swear to God, I just go there because that's what stand-up is. You go, oh, did you think I said doing lines with my mom? Can you imagine? Mom! Oh, God, I'm so glad you banged Dad. And she's like, we have to clean up before the cleaning lady gets here. Let's start a band. Mom, let's do less cocaine. And then suddenly, that's what stand-up is. You just keep exploring and heightening, this idea. And
that's got to be fun because when you're reading your scripts, there's your limit. You can make it pop out of the page, but this is now you being you, and I do dig that. Do you have a line that you still remember from Ari Gold? Was there one that your mom ever broke where she said, I can't believe you're about to do this with your wife, or you're about to walk in on Adrian Grenier doing this? Is there something anything ever?
Every moment with Ari Gold, he had a truly offensive. I would read the scripts and go to the creator. I think this is the part where I turn everyone off, where people are just like, I've had enough of him, and he goes, No,
you're going for it.
You're doing. I'm like, okay, cool. So this is wildly offensive. Okay, I think I'm going to lose everyone on this one. But what if I play it as if Ari thinks it's hysterical and it maybe isn't? And just by him laughing at his own moment where it's like, because we all know those people that say some really offensive stuff, but bro, it's a joke, bro. I'm kidding,
right.
And then it in real life, it may be awkward. That guy's awkward. But if you watch that character on TV, it's really funny.
Yeah.
So there's all these interesting ways to kind of navigate this character that I found. There was a moment that one of the catchphrases came about organically because Kevin Connolly, to his own admission, doesn't love human contact. He doesn't love it when he's touched.
He likes his dog.
Yeah. And so they didn't yell cut, and I was, teaching E about bedside, have a good bedside manner with Vinny. Okay. You got to make sure that he's in a good mood. What are you doing, dummy? And I was really just crushing him, and then he just looks really sad, and they don't yell cut. So I go, come here, you want to hug it out? Let's hug it out, you little bitch. And I hugged him, and they didn't yell cut, and then that ends up being on T-shirts. You know what I mean? So that's how that happened. So you look at this guy, and I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at Kevin as an actor going, the worst thing that could happen right now is I literally hug him. I'm going to hug him. I'm going to stay in character. I'm staying in character.
But it was brilliant.
It was fun.
Shit like that is great that you got to, obviously it was because you were still Ari Gold, and it translated right into the next moment of, you little bitch, you want to hug it out.
Yeah.
So, yes, but you said that this is my last question. Thank you for your time. Every single question, if the lines were so quick, Ari Gold's back to back, I have to say this, there were probably 8 insults that you had to spit out.
Yeah.
How would you remember that? That was my big thing.
But that's, everyone's different. I unfortunately don't have a photographic memory. There are people out there that have photographic memories. It doesn't mean you're a great actor. It's just something. It's when people say, "Oh, he has a gift." I don't have that gift. I wish I did.
Yeah.
It would have saved me a lot of time. Some people, that's just a true gift. So for me, the best way for me to learn and ingest information is to do it out loud.
Yep.
So I would take a 4-page monologue, and if I just do it over and over again with my mom, and I'm not making this up, so my mom would just, to this day, test me on my lines.
Really? That's awesome.
But it's also with people that are getting older, they want that connection. They still want to feel vital. I mean, that's why when people kind of fall off and they go to, retirement homes or whatever, so my mom is staying sharp, doing her thing, and we keep it going.
Yeah. Temperature check. How are you doing, Jeremy Piven?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited to meet people at the Denver Improv this weekend.
Yes.
You know, it's going to be exciting. I'm giving you the gift of comedy, and I'm giving you the gift of the Chicago Bears. And so the Denver Broncos, enjoy your first win, because we're not putting a 70 piece on you.
I don't know.
We're
You're not going to do 70, but 30. What? We're 31st, and you're 32nd in the league, or something in the worst teams. It's horrible. So
I love the.
So what are you going to do for Sunday? That's, I guess, we're all finding out that we're going to
together.
Right, we're all.
I love Russell Wilson. He's you know, I want him to win. And Sean Payton, let's go. These guys are legends. Let's go. Let's turn it around. And I say that as a Bears fan. I want Justin Fields to do it. I'm confused by all of it.
Yes.
None of it makes any sense. But I think it'll be a competitive game with two viciously mediocre teams. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we're hoping for on our Sunday.
Yay.
Jeremy Piven, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Everybody, please. Jeremy Piven's going to be here tonight and tomorrow night at the Denver Improv. Get your tickets, denver.improv.com.
101.5, you get a free meet and greet.
You get a free there. That's awesome. 101 there. Thank you.
And I'm Jewish, so I hate giving away free stuff.
So you know how much this means to him.
You know how you know someone's Jewish? They tell you for no reason. That's how you know.
They just volunteer it. Jeremy Piven, everybody. Get your tickets. You can get them at denver.improv.com.
And by the way, when you look at this, just know that it's the morning and we still have energy.
I know. That's my job, was to make you. I know you're not a morning guy.
No,
so thank
you are a morning person.
Yeah, I'm here for you.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Bye, guys.